This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. During Hour 2, we're going to be talking with famed record producer, multiple Grammy winner, and one of 5 engineers to work on the Beatles album. But we're not talking about music. Ken Scott's son, who has some mental issues, was displaying unusual behavior in February of this year and was shot by the police. He survived. But the fact that the police did not know how to handle him is what we're going to talk about. Working with mental illness will be starting off Hour 2 of Late Night Health today. And if you don't get Hour 2, you can always tune in at latenighthealth.com. We go to Santa Monica, California, as we talk with a new friend of mine. Her name is Judie Henninger. Judie is an award-winning editor. She currently edits promos for soap operas. Days of Our Lives? Am I right? Days
that
of
is correct.
Right?
Yes.
And she had a 33-year history with one of the 3-letter networks.
I did.
You did. And we can...
Well, that would be NBC, I would imagine.
It would be NBC,
okay.
yes.
It was NBC,
I did tour NBC many years ago, and they had cases and cases and cases of stuff that said DOOL on it, and that was Days of Our Lives.
Yes.
Yeah, well, exactly. I started there as a page in New York, so...
Oh, my. At Days of Our Lives?
No, at NBC.
At NBC, in the days when they had pages.
No, they still have pages at NBC.
Oh, maybe I could get a gig. Well, let's talk about Judie. Is 2 years ago, she went to the doctor, regular checkup, and you didn't get good news. Tell us what happened.
I went in for my routine mammogram, which I do every year, and I have done every year since I was supposed to start doing that. And they asked me to come back for an ultrasound, because they saw something, and that really didn't faze me at first because I've been called back for ultrasounds before. They would find a cyst or whatever. So I went back for the ultrasound, and this particular ultrasound was very different because it took a very long time, and they were examining my left side. And at that moment, I kind of knew something was wrong. So then I had to come back for a biopsy. And then after the biopsy, I had to wait 2 or 3 days and come back. But, basically at that point, the radiologist had read the biopsy afterwards and basically said that, I had breast cancer on my left side. And it was 95% chance, 5% that it wasn't positive, but, I wasn't really counting on that. So.
Sure. Let's talk about emotions. My wife has had false readings. In other words, she has the mammogram, and they ask her to come back, hurry up, come back in. We squeezed you in, 2 days from now. It hasn't happened in a number of years, but there was nothing wrong other than that they moved the film, whatever it was. It was before the digital era of mammography today. And she moved, they moved, who knows? And she would go back, and I think it happened once or twice. And fortunately, nothing was there. However, those 2 days while she was waiting are hell.
Not fun.
Not fun at all.
It's very stressful, because you're just thinking about it constantly. And for me, when that had happened prior to, on other exams, when they'd ask me to come back, they'd say, I'd call them and I'd like, well, I can come today. And they'd say, well, actually, we can't get you in today. And then, they'd make me wait like 2 days. And so that's extremely stressful. And you go through an entire gamut of like, well, what if they find something? What if, you start to do the what ifs.
And when the doctor confirmed the diagnosis,
yes,
I understand that you were consoling a friend you were with, rather than the other way around.
Yes, because a friend of mine came with me. Friend came with me from my biopsy, and I told her, I said, I don't think it looks good because they're spending a lot of time. And then a friend came with me for the diagnosis day. And when the doctor confirmed my diagnosis, and that it was also in one node, my friend broke down and started crying. And so I'm like, it's all right, I'm going to be okay, And then, we walked outside. Actually, that day they asked me if I wanted to consult with a surgeon that day. And
That's unusual.
Yeah, they had one on board who was there. And I just thought, you know what? I mean, putting all emotions aside, I just thought, well, let me just do this, let me just find out what he has to say. And I'm kind of a proactive person, and so I decided to do it. So I spoke with him for about an hour and a half, and basically he had told me that, I would have a mastectomy on the left side, and kind of went through the procedure, and choosing a plastic surgeon. He had recommended somebody that he works with, and so I kind of took in all that information after taking in the diagnosis, and then I left the building, okay, and then I got in my car, and as I was driving about maybe 5 or 6 blocks home, called my brother and told him the news, and then, I started crying, because it just really hit me at that point. And then I called somebody else and let them know, and then, then after that it was just kind of like a whirlwind of I already spoke with a surgeon, and I asked for recommendations for other people. So,
is it like getting hit in the head with a brick?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, mostly because, once I talked with a surgeon, because it was in a node, they said, well, you will do chemotherapy. And of course, when I heard that, I was just like, geez, that just kind of blew me away a little bit. So, but I thought, well, other people have gotten through it. I'll get through it too.
And you actually chose both an allopathic or traditional mode of working through the treatment. Thank you, of working through this, and at the same time did some alternative as well.
Yes, I went to traditional doctors, of course. I chose my team of doctors after interviewing several doctors in each category, because I had to choose a surgeon, a plastic surgeon, and then an oncologist. So I basically interviewed, and when I went to the interview, a friend came with me, and I gave them a notebook to take notes for me while the doctor was talking to me, because I just thought, sometimes when you're in that situation, you're listening to the doctor, but maybe you're not hearing everything, because there's also a little bit of shock value to it as well. So my friends came and they took notes from each doctor, and then I reviewed notes, and based on notes, but also mostly based on gut feeling and how I felt about the doctor. That's how I chose my doctors.
Right. Bedside manner does matter, as well as technique and skill.
There's one person I didn't like at all because I just didn't feel any compassion, and I just, completely ruled them out. So.
Absolutely. Our guest is Judie Henninger. She is a cancer survivor of over 2 years now, and she, her, I guess your slogan is breast cancer was my lemonade, and mentoring is my lemonade. She's making lemonade out of...
Breast cancer is my lemons, and mentoring is my lemonade. It's like making lemonade out of lemons.
Got it.
It's actually, that's just an article that was published on Samantha Harris's website, which she created after she went through breast cancer, called Gotta Make Lemonade. And I wrote an article for her regarding my whole treatment. But we were just talking before, talking about how I thought different kinds of treatments. I had a really a good oncologist who I spoke with, who said I should try alternative therapies in terms of like acupuncture, different things while I was going through chemo, and meditation, and because it kind of helps you get through it. They can treat you in a certain way for fatigue, and I went to an integrative medicine, UCLA integrative medicine place with Eastern and Western doctors who treated me both for acupuncture and other things. They would even suggest me when I was going through chemo to drink certain teas for this, or take certain herbs for that. So that's very unusual. Yeah, but I'm that kind of person who seeks, and I also went to a homeopathic store that's here in Santa Monica, because I've been there before.
Right.
And I spoke with one of the pharmacists there who was very knowledgeable, and she also gave me things to take, natural substances to take to fight off a little fatigue or fight off nausea, which I was fortunate enough during chemo never to be nauseous. So.
Wow, that's very unusual too, because chemo it not only kills the bad cells,
kills the good cells.
It kills the good cells as well.
Yeah, well, it compromises your immune system because your blood counts are so low.
In talking with other women and women's families, because it's scary. There was that show a few years ago, The Big C, on Showtime. It was a great show, but it showed that cancer not only affects the patient, but the whole family.
Yes.
How did it affect your family?
Well, I'm single, so I don't have immediate family around me. But being single is kind of, I have my brother is in New York. My other parts of family are spread in North Carolina and Colorado. That's just we used to all be in New York at one point, but we've kind of spread out. But my family was super supportive. My brother flew out for my surgery. I told him he had to fly out. I didn't give him an option. He said, "Well, I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can get a week off." I said, "Never mind. See if you can get a week off. You're taking 2 weeks off, and if you have a problem, I'll talk to your boss, who also happens to be a friend of mine." So
got it.
But anyway, yeah. So and then my friends. I really had a great support system of friends, because once they all found out, they said, anything we can do for you. And what I did was, I started my own support team. A lot of times when you go in to the doctors, they have what they call nurse navigators in the office who will point you towards support groups you can go to, to get through it if you need to. And I just felt that wasn't really for me, because it works for some people, but for me, I didn't want to sit in a circle of women who were going through it, because I felt like
women that you didn't know.
Yeah, and I just felt like that would bring me to a depressing point, and it's not true for everybody. Some people really need that, but for me, I didn't want to talk about, the fact that I had cancer. I was just like, no, I can deal with this through my friends and my family. So what I did was I started an email group, and every week as I would progress through treatment, I would email them and update them, and it was called Team Judie Kick Cancer's Ass. So,
and you did.
Yeah, and so every week, I would update them how I was feeling, and and they also I said I need somebody to sign up and come with me to chemo, and I
people would come.
These are the dates, and I had 6 sign-ups immediately, and people were like, well, wait a minute, I wanted to come. So I was like, well, sorry. I said, but if somebody drops out, you could be the backup.
Judy, you are going to hang on. We're going to do some business, and we'll continue this. We're talking about, I guess, the positive side of cancer, if you will, with our friend Judie Henninger. She's an editor for promos of soap operas. All right, we're going to take a time out. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. Like us at Facebook. And by the way, join our new Late Night Health Facebook group. Thank you, Kevin Stern, for setting that up. We have a Facebook group now, and we'll have some information all about it online at facebook.com/Late Night Health. All right, I'm Mark Alyn. We'll be back. Don't go away.